Hello, everybody. It's Peter Berry and Licia Berry with Juicy Sacred Living.
I hope we can take these off during the video because we have a pretty serious.
Do you want me to check this out now? Let's see if I can figure that out.
See if we can figure that out. Just
yeah. Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. Well, not that. Oh, whoops. Okay.
No.
All right.
That's
all right.
better. Oh my God. I don't want to be a wild boar.
You know, I felt like a wild boar today.
How so?
Yeah. Well, you know, wild boar kicks up a mess and snorts around and stomps around and generally causes a little unhappiness in its life. And it was a little bit of a wild boar today.
How are you a wild boar today?
Well, our mission is Sacred Union. And what Sacred Union is partnership between the feminine and the masculine. Mm-hmm. And in an intimate relationship, it means partnership with your beloved. Mm-hmm. And I kicked out of that for just a minute today. And when I did that, I saw the divide between men and women, the vastness of the divide between men and women, and how I play a part in it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's big.
It is. It's huge. It's
I mean, it's the core wound. If you think about it, it's the core wound.
Right.
Like, we all come from a mama and a daddy, and there's just no two ways about that. Can't argue with that. Mm-hmm. You know, and wow, when there's a divide between men and women, it's like the most basic, like when we can't be with each other because we can't trust each other, or we can't feel safe with each other, or
right, which is trust. Seeing each other's point of view, being able to be present to the other's pain or anguish or frustration is a lack of trust. Mm-hmm. A lack of trusting that the relationship can survive whatever is happening. A lack of trust in the connection. And so when we had that break today, just a little break, it felt like the Grand Canyon to me.
Yeah. Well, and because we're so together so much of the time,
right?
This little, you know, something that's this big feels like the Grand Canyon. I mean, we've gotten so close and so attuned in working with the feminine, masculine energy, the polarities, and working with sacred systems, which is the body of work, you know, that we teach and that we've been embodying for a decade. Mm-hmm. But woo, it's really going some places. It's uprooting old ancestral patterning. It feels like just things that we learned from our own parents and things that we learned from the culture. And I mean, we really have had to step outside the culture in order to see some of these things and decide for ourselves, do we want to carry this particular pattern on? Is this really useful and productive? And is it loving? And is it meeting the goal that we want to meet? And no.
Most of the time.
No!
Most of the time not. So I'm sorry, this is distracting. So, well, I think I can get rid of it. There we go. That's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
No more Blues Brothers glasses.
No.
I was about to break into song there for a second. So we wanted to invite you into a conversation about trust, because that, in essence, is what gets in the way of closeness. You know, of real, true intimacy in an intimate partnership, but also, you know, true closeness, like heart closeness with other people and other relationships, and even with ourselves. Like we can not trust ourselves. Mm-hmm. There can be a divide between my own inner masculine and feminine, and my masculine cannot trust my feminine, and my feminine cannot trust my masculine, and there's like this, you know, and so they're not working in partnership, and I am not effective, you know, when I am in that space of not trusting. But yet I think what really came up for us today, you know, in working with some of these patterns, is that my mistrust, my feminine, the connector, the holder of the space, like waiting for all the good that I can see possible coming into fruition, and the feminine, the part of me that has been holding the space for the masculine in you to come forth and really shine and match me in my feminine. These are very vulnerable, intimate conversations. So this is pretty vulnerable sharing. We've been together 32 years, and it's been a long time that I've been holding the space in my feminine heart of hearts, that connector and the hoper and the faith and the willingness and the just keeping the trust going that this masculine in him would show up to match the feminine in me. And since we came from the opposite sides, where I was more masculine in the beginning and he was more feminine in the beginning, that was a big seismic change for us to decide we're going to play this other side out. We're going to try this other dynamic and see what that's like. And it was really guided for us. It was a spiritual calling for us to try it. So what came up today was my exhaustion in holding the space. Sorry. Okay, I'm not going to go there. ready to fall apart already. My exhaustion in holding the space for such a long time. And I am one determined, stubborn woman. I am a very willful. I mean, when I get a vision, I'm like, I get this idea and I'm like, yes, it can happen, and I'm like, yes. And I hit a wall, and I guess I've been exhausted physically because we've been super busy, and I've been, doing amazing work with Daughters of Earth, and we've got this beautiful wedding coming up, and there's just a lot physically, emotionally, mentally, all this stuff's going on. But I hit a wall this morning, and now I don't even remember entirely, except I just felt like I was trying to describe something, and he wasn't getting it. And I just felt the fatigue of my heart holding the space for this masculine to show up for all these years. And I just shut down, and my body was just like, okay, that's it. I give up. And I didn't say that, but the feeling I had was, I give up. I give up. It's not going to happen. And I went into this really just exhausted, dark hole, and had to kind of go back to bed, and it was rough, and so, but it really brought something up to our attention in a bigger way. It brought up why women don't trust men. For me, it was like, well, no wonder there's a divide. Women who are in their feminine are like, okay, come on, waiting for that masculine to show up there. And then there are women who are in their masculine, like I was super masculine before, who are like, I'm not going to be feminine because I know those men aren't going to show up. I know that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to take care of me, so I got to take care of myself. And, I'm blessed and fortunate, and I've chosen to be with someone who's also been blessed and fortunate and chosen to be with in this relationship, that we can play this out while there is this other person and really explore this dynamic. But oh my God, doesn't it make so much sense that women don't trust men? And that's part of the divide. The feminine is like, I'm here, I love you, where are you? And where's the masculine?
Running around all by itself, on its own agenda, without regard to anybody else. Yeah,
and by the way, we're talking about feminine and masculine energy, which is in everybody. So it's not necessarily man, woman, man, or that. This applies to everybody, because everybody's got feminine energy, masculine energy, the positive, the negative charge inside of them. So the yin yang. So it's like, no wonder that there's so much strife. No wonder there's such a divide. between feminine and masculine energy, especially in the case of women not trusting men. And we see how many women are furious, angst-ridden, totally disappointed, despairing, and just like, F you. The men can just go get their own planet. We're out, you know. I understand. I'm not saying I support that at all. We got to work together, guys. No. We got to make it work. We got to work this out.
Everybody has to work together if we're going to get out of this.
We got to work it out. But I'm telling you, the mistrust is real, and it's a survival level mistrust. And when there's that level of mistrust from a woman's point of view, you know, waiting for that masculine to show up, it's like, I don't want to let go of my masculine inside of me, because my masculine is going to take care of me, because he sure ain't, you know. I mean, like that. Do you say you get it, right? You get that there's like that level of, oof, it's painful. It's so painful. And so when you've been holding the trust, holding space, hope, faith, and it just doesn't, you know, and you're just like, see, men suck. See, men are babies. See, you know, all this stuff that women, you know, that I hear so many women talking about, and I understand, but there's hope, right?
There is, and today I got that glimpse of the chasm that we've created.
That we've created?
No, that humanity has created.
Humanity is created
through the unpartnered feminine and unpartnered masculine, but it's the unpartnered masculine in particular that has caused the destruction. And our experience this morning caused us both to write something powerful on Facebook. And Licia was talking about feeling depleted and feeling like it's not just waiting for me, it's waiting for men in general. It's waiting for this planet. It's waiting for the positive to show up. The positive that we've all been fighting for and looking for to show up. And
the light. And
the despair at not seeing it coming when you've been working hard for it and wanting it so badly. And the despair of putting energy into people who aren't capable of receiving it, who aren't willing to receive it as the light that it is, and keep hoping that they'll show up and keep loving them no matter what, and having to make that decision to stop putting energy into people who aren't there for you, who become that black hole that you can't put enough energy into because they're not willing to heal themselves. And so I was feeling her on a nonverbal level with that, and I wrote something that Licia hasn't read yet, so this is a bit of an experiment here. I'm going to read this. Okay. This is called, and I posted this on Facebook. It's on the Juicy Sacred Living page. It's on my personal page, and it's on my Sons of Earth page, which is a group for men who want to discuss how to be better men, who want to heal their masculine and help heal this world. So this is called The Divide, How Men Have Thwarted the Feminine. I saw it clearly today. The divide. That gap that we are all aware of, and some of us are trying to bridge, the gap between women and men. I saw it in the pain of my beloved. I saw the eons of accumulated ancestral pain that I awaken every time I do not act in partnership. I saw the divide, and I recognize that it is we, the men, who have caused it. We have chosen through our wounding and our inaction to make women act from the masculine instead of holding and protecting space for them to act from the feminine. When I say feminine and masculine, I do not imply feminine equals woman and masculine equals man. I am referring to the polarities of feminine and masculine energy. In this world, we are all comprised of feminine connective and masculine individuative energy, and shift within those polarities constantly. This is not new information for the women of the world, but it is for most men. Right now, in our lifetime, we are hearing and feeling the last creaking groans of the patriarchy of the last 5,000 years as it tries to hang on to its imbalanced, unpartnered power. At the same time, we are hearing and feeling the collective anguish, frustration, and rage of the women who have been diminished, suppressed, violated, and negated by the culture we live in. So men, Wake up. We have either been asleep, allowing or abetting this violence against women, and it is time to stop. How do we stop? We show up to do the work that is necessary to meet women in their pain. We take the time to examine ourselves and see where we fall short of partnership. We admit the ways that we force the women in our lives to be the masculine, emotional unawareness, focus on work instead of family, using our power to subjugate rather than empower, refusing to engage as equals, and allowing the violence against women in our culture to continue. This is sacred work. Sacred work. I do not know many men who say they don't love women. We all come from a mother, and in our early life, she is our world. But we learn to revile her. We are shown by our fathers who leave them to raise a family alone. We are shown by our culture where women are not allowed into the seats of power in industry, government, and many religions. We are shown by the media where, until very recently, the predominant portrayals of women were as objects to be attained or disempowered versions of their true selves. We learned to accept that women were less than because it was our norm. It is time for a new normal. Yes. Because when we respect women and learn to see them as our partners, we may start to see how we have failed them. We will start to see that by denying them their true, authentic, connective feminine power, we have forced them to be the masculine. We have forced them to be the motivators for our lives, and they become the nag, the worry, and the bitch.
Oh, I recognize those terms.
We have forced them to play by our rules of winning at all costs, the individual over everything, zero-sum games. We have forced them to be the wounded masculine we are, and we hate them for it.
Oh my God.
We hate them because they become a mirror for a part of ourselves that we revile.
Oh my God, that is the truth. That is spoken so beautifully.
The answer to bridging this gap is simple, but not easy. It is partnership, sacred union, recognition of the divinity in all of us. And contrary to what we've been taught, laying down our wounded masculine power is not going to be painful. It will bring us what we have always sought, peace and love. For when we recognize the ways that we are hurting the women we love, and we recognize that we have a choice about how to love them, we heal that part of ourselves that is the wounded masculine. We heal that diminished expression of who we are as men that has been handed down and reinforced as correct over thousands of years. We start to build a bridge to the women we love, and we start to heal ourselves in the world. We allow them to inhabit their feminine power, connective power that enables everyone to feel safe, and begin to heal our planet. Men, I challenge you to wake up. I challenge you to find a still place in your heart, to connect to your higher self, your higher power, and to be honest with yourself. Then decide whether you want to continue to co-create a world where women feel less than men. If you want to continue on the path of destruction that we are headed down now, the good news is you have a choice. You have free will. But because of that, you can no longer pretend that you are not part of the problem if you are not actively working to be part of the solution. I choose to actively work to be a part of the solution despite my flaws. What will you choose? Yeah, that says it pretty well.
Yeah. So thank you, first of all, for saying those words. And secondly, you talked about the mistrust. Like I talked about the feminine's mistrust of the masculine, but you talked about the masculine's mistrust of the feminine too.
Yeah, I think
that was so big.
Well, that's big stuff because the masculine is afraid it's going to be subsumed by the feminine. Because it's all about the I, the individual, in its unpartnered state. It thinks that it's going to lose its identity, it's going to lose its sense of purpose, its sense of what right and wrong is by being enveloped in the collective. And really what happens in partnership is that knowledge of the all that is informs the individual, and that individual becomes much more powerful than it could have been on its own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then it can act with right action, with action that's concerned for the whole.
Mm-hmm.
And by acting that way in partnership, it allows the feminine to be feminine instead of having to react against it.
Exactly. Exactly. And what is the masculine's worst fear besides being subsumed? Doesn't it go the other way too? Isn't it the wound of being abandoned by the feminine?
Well, it's isolation, yeah.
Isolation. Because if the feminine's not there, the connection's not there, so it's like this giant gap.
Right.
In between.
So men who are acting in that wounded masculine spot, in that place of disconnection from the feminine, are capable of terrible, terrible things. And I believe that if we want to solve the problems of the world, we don't tackle them one at a time. We start with the underlying cause, which is that divide is where all of the answers are.
Yeah.
Because when our feminine and our masculine are in partnership, then the feminine is not scared of the masculine is not scared of the feminine. There's trust, and they work together, and the masculine can go forth and do what the masculine is supposed to do, be that point of movement into the world, but do it with the informed understanding of what is good for all.
It seems a good time to show this image. This is an image that I made along with 81 others. It's the Sacred Systems collage series, the 81, and this is one of them, and it's called Scalloped Width. And as you can see, there's a little girl holding an image of a man that she's missing. As if he's gone, and that he's been gone for a long time, and she just misses him. And there are these lips, beautiful scalloped lips, and there are these men coming up from down in a dark hole, climbing up into the sky. And the lips are showing the way. It's one in this series of an examination of feminine and masculine energy in humanity, and how we can how it looks like in partnership, feminine and masculine in partnership, and how it looks out of partnership. There are 81 of those showing this timeline between the very beginning of humanity until the very end, and it's become a sacred text to us. And that particular image says the masculine principle is finding its way back to the state of union, shown here by men digging their way up out of a hole. The feminine, the three lips, are leading him, showing him the way up and out. A young girl holds a picture of a man she misses. She holds him in her heart, even though he is not present in her life. This is one of the supports the feminine is providing the masculine, holding him in her heart in his absence, and showing him the way home until he returns triumphant. So that's where the fatigue came from, because I've been that feminine holding the space in my heart for a really long time. And when I was like, I give up, I'm tired, something about that pain apparently triggered.
Well, I saw it.
Something in you.
I've been working really hard to come into union, to come into true partnership.
Me too.
So I really,
Me too.
when we are not in partnership, I feel it acutely now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
What I really want to do is what I've done, which is take that pain and quantify it and qualify it and write about it, so that other men can learn from it and not have to go through the same thing. It's a pathway. How do we create a pathway?
Well, and it's so good that you're working with the men, because men need a safe voice, a safe place to explore their mistrust of their own feminine and masculine, and the mistrust of the feminine and the masculine in the world. And that's why I'm working with the women, working to mend that partnership on the inside with women coming into their leadership.
And I'm working with men because they need to see a man who's willing to do that work, so they will do it.
Yeah, because we're just, this world, oh my gosh, you guys, it could be this beautiful, amazing, and it is in so many ways that way. But I mean, we're seeing the crazy stuff that's going on out there that is just an absolute direct and natural consequence of unpartnered masculine behavior.
Yes.
Not listening to what's good for the whole, which the feminine, that's her domain, that's what she understands. So we have to act. We don't have time to sit on the sidelines anymore or pretend this conversation doesn't need to happen, or be like all uber spiritual about it and be like, oh, I only can think positive thought. I mean, it is positive thinking to do this work, because we have to acknowledge what is. We have to acknowledge the divide internally in our own self, and then with each other in every kind of relationship, and do the work to come into partnership. So we hope you will stay with us while we continue this conversation about mending the divide. We're going to continue to explore what this looks like for women, for men, and in relationships, intimate and otherwise. And we have an online class coming up in September, and a retreat out in New Mexico in September. We'll post those links for you so you can check them out, but we would love for you to consider coming and really learning this material in depth, seeing the sacred 81, that talk about feminine and masculine directly in person, learning the material, receiving transmission from this material, and really embodying it for yourself, because when you do, things change in a radical, beautiful way, and the world is a different place. And so nothing less than world change will do. That's the way we feel.
Sacred union is the goal.
Yep.
So the bonus for those of you who want to come and do the workshop with us in New Mexico is you get to be in Abiquiu, New Mexico at the Ghost Ranch, which is where Georgia O'Keeffe painted most of her major paintings. The light is unlike anywhere in the world. It's the vastness of the red rock meets the infinite sky. And for an artist and a photographer like me, it's one of those places that's heaven on earth. And we'd love to show you that as well, and let the magic of that place work with you, because that place holds that deep-seated partnership between the feminine and the masculine, which makes it such an ideal location to do the work we're going to be doing.
Yeah, the land is a real cauldron. They're a crucible. Alchemy occurs, lead into gold. That's what we're after.
That's right. Divide into partnership. That's the goal. Divide
into partnership?
Yeah. Take the divide and turn it into partnership.
Oh, okay.
Close the divide. Okay. Mend it.
Mend the divide.
Mend the divide.
And yes.
Yeah, I missed a word in there. Mend the divide so we can have partnership.
See, it works really nicely to be in partnership, because then you cover all the bases. Together we're good. That's together right. We bring more. I can't think of anything else right now.
No. Do we want to do something funny on the way out, since we were doing such craziness? Not craziness, but heavy subjects. Let's see, what do we want to do?
Yeah, I was about to say, what are you talking about? It's like... Oh, tiara. I want a tiara.
Where's that one? That one? Okay. So...
Oh, you get the tiara!
Well, you stick your face out. You'll get a tiara too if you...
I don't think so. I think only one person gets the tiara.
Here, let's try that again. Lean in.
I think you got eyelashes too. Wait, do that again. Your feminine is gorgeous.
She is so happy. All right.
Wait, is there something for me, like a football helmet or something, so I can be like the stereotype of masculine behavior, since you're being a stereotype of feminine behavior? I thought I saw a football helmet over here somewhere.
Did you?
I thought so.
I didn't see it.
Oh, what's that?
I don't know. Justice League movie.
Oh, look! It just totally picked up. I'm erased. It has erased me. Okay.
The unpartnered masculine is taking over. No!
Okay.
All right. I must be the dominant face in the image right now.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh, there we are.
Oh my. Something just happened. Well, let's close out with what we started with. We're sending lots of love your way from Juicy Sacred Living. We can do this, you guys. Partnership is the key. The Aquarian dynamic.
Partnership to the people.
Yeah.
All right.
Lots of love your way.
Bye. Till next time.